Hey besties, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a scrunchie using the burrito method. You can use this method to create scrunchies in any size, but for this example I'll be making an XL scrunchie. Here's a list of scrunchie sizes I recommend trying. For this size, I cut my fabric to measure 40 inches long and 6.5 inches wide. The length you cut your elastic is personal preference, but for this scrunchie I cut mine to be 8 inches long. Fold the fabric in half so the short edges meet and the pretty sides of the fabric are facing each other. Clip or pin that short edge to hold it in place. Using a regular straight stitch and a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew straight down that short edge. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. Open up the fabric and move that seam into the middle. Make sure the pretty sides of the fabric stay facing each other. Finger press that seam open. Take only the top layer of fabric and fold 1/2 into the middle. Then do the same thing with the opposite side. As you can see, we can lift this top half and it's not connected to the bottom half. Now, while still holding the top tube in place, you need to fold the bottom layer of fabric over so that the pretty sides are facing and you've basically enclosed the top tube. With those raw edges meeting, you can clip or pin to hold them in place. Using a regular straight stitch and a 1/4 inch seam allowance, start sewing straight down. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. You want to make sure you're only sewing those 2 layers of fabric and not the tube that's inside. When it looks like you're getting close to the end, stop sewing and make sure your needle is in the fabric. Carefully pull the inside tube through like this. You'll need to use your other hand to hold onto the top layer of fabric at the back so that it doesn't get all bunched up when you're pulling it through. Once you have as much fabric pulled through as you can, make sure the tube is tucked nicely inside and then you can keep sewing. You want to repeat this process until you get close to the end. I recommend stopping an inch or 2 from where you started sewing. This will be our opening to turn the scrunchie right side out. Don't forget to backstitch. To turn the scrunchie right side out, you just need to carefully pull the tube out through the opening. And now we're ready to add the elastic. The length you cut your elastic is personal preference, but for this example I'm using 1/2 inch elastic and I've cut it to measure 8 inches. You can use either a safety pin or a bodkin to thread your elastic. I'm using my bodkin because I find it super quick and easy. Thread the elastic through the scrunchie, and I recommend clipping the other end of the elastic to the fabric so that it doesn't pull all the way through. Make sure the elastic doesn't get twisted. Once the elastic is threaded, clip the 2 ends together and using a zigzag stitch, sew it in place. I go back and forth a couple of times to make sure it's nice and secure. You can then pop the elastic inside of the scrunchie, and all that's left to do is to close that opening. To do this, you just need to fold those raw edges in about a 1/4 inch. And if you want to add your own personalised tag, I recommend adding it here. Using a regular straight stitch and sewing as close as you can to the edge, sew that opening closed. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. Now just snip away any loose threads and your scrunchie is complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I'll see you in the next one.